Alright guys, so we'll be focusing on loading our player and creating our player class for our game. So the first thing we want to do is we need to go ahead and add our player texture. So just go to the folder you downloaded from this course, and 2D side scroller, and just copy this character right here. See, it's like a little alien guy. It's pretty cool. Just copy that, and you just want to paste it into the graphics folder. Paste, and check is there. There it is. And now we want to just go to our resource manager, and we need to create a new texture region. We can do it right here. Do public, but instead of being a regular texture, it's going to be a tiled texture region, and just call it character, or call it player texture, like that. And the reason why we called it tile is because this texture is actually going to be tiled. It's not going to be a regular region. It's going to have like different type of frames, or different frames for the graphic. So now let's go down to our load game graphics, and in here we want to do this, and do player texture equals bitmap. Just copy this thing right here, copy that whole part, copy and paste V, and then do create from tiled asset, and then we want to pass it the game texture atlas, and do activity dot get assets, and then do character, what is that texture? Character, yep. So do character dot png, like that. And for the columns, it has 7 columns and it has 1 row. That's very important. If you messed these up, like you put the wrong numbers there, then your texture won't animate right. You'll notice like it's jumping to wrong frames. Some of the frames are not showing. So make sure that this matches the actual texture, because you see here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 columns, and we have 1 row. All right, so there we go. We got our character loaded. We have our player texture loaded, and just hit yes, finish. And now we need to go to create a new class called player. And this class is going to extend the animated sprite class. So you want to just do extends player animated sprite, and just go ahead and import that. And here you need a constructor, so just do add constructor. We'll let it do it for us. And actually, we do our constructor ourselves. We don't need it to do it for us. So do public player, and you want to do float px, float py, and float width, float height, and we need the vertex buffer object manager, and let's call it VBO or VBOM. And we also need a bound camera, and physics, and last but not least we need the physics world, and let's call it physics world. All right, so let's go ahead and import this vertex buffer object manager and import the bound camera, and let's call that camera. Bound, it should be bound camera. And now we need to do super dot, and then actually just super, and then pass it the px, and then the py, and then the width, and the height. And we need to do the resource manager, get instance, and do player texture, and pass it the VBOM. All right, and go ahead and import that physics world too. So import physics world, and there we go. And we can get rid of these right here. So just do fix to, and get rid of that. Alright guys, so now inside of this constructor we need to do a few more things. We need to go up to the top of our class here and do private body and body, and we need to do public boolean can jump equals false, or actually no, equals true, and that's it for now. And import that body. And in here we can let's create a method right now called create physics, and pass it the camera, actually bound camera and physics world, like that. And this should be a public, actually private void, like that. And physics world should just be physics world, like that. Alright, so let's start doing some work. So the first thing we want to do is we need to go ahead and do, we can set this to final. So first thing we need to do is body equals physics factory dot create box from body, and we need to pass it the physics world and pass it the this, and do body type, and this body is going to be dynamic. And for the fixture def, we can just do physics factory dot create fixture def, do 0 0 0, everything's going to be 0, and finish. So there's our body. And now we need to do body set user data to our player, and body set fixed rotation to true, because we don't want it to like flip all over the place. Since our player needs to stand up straight, we don't want them to like roll and fall over. We just want them to stay in a fixed position or fixed rotation spot. Next we need physics, actually physics world dot register physics connector, and I want to do new physics connector this, pass it the body, and do true and false. And we just need to simply put a comma right there and add another parentheses at the end, and go ahead and import the physics connector there and add another parentheses. And what the physics connector does is it actually links that body to the sprite connected, so it makes them both for one, so that sprite can follow the body and the body follows the sprite. But in most cases, if you're using physics, you want to use the body, you want to think of it as the sprite following the body. And actually we need to do something here. We need to add a bracket right there, and enter. And we have some work to do in here, so we need to add a update handler. So do at override, and I want to do public void on update float p seconds elapsed, like that. And you want to do this like that. And inside of here, you want to do super dot on update and pass it those seconds right there, so it can stay updating. And then you want to do camera set, or you can do camera on update, and we just want to set this to 0.1, because we don't want our camera to be jerking all over the place when our sprite is moving or jumping. We don't want it to be like bouncing and stuff. We just want it to kind of stay, you know, centered, or we don't want it to move around and jitter a lot. So just set that to 1.1. And the next thing we need to do is we need to just detect, we actually do that later, we don't do that now. So for now, we can leave this as is, and we want to do body dot set linear velocity, and we're going to do new vector 2, and we're going to simply do 2 right there, and body dot get linear velocity, and do get y, like that, and that's it. So right here, what we're basically doing is the velocity. What it does is it actually makes the player move in a certain direction, or makes the body move in a certain direction, or gives it velocity so it moves where you want it to. So for example, right here, we're telling it to, hey, every second that this physics world update, then we want to simply tell this body right here to move two body meters, or 2 physics world meters ahead. So every second the body's going to be have a force or velocity applied to it, so it keeps moving. So basically, for our runner game, we want the body to move in the x-axis. So that's why we're doing that here, because we're setting that velocity so it moves in the x direction, and it looks like the player's actually running, but he's actually just moving from here. And as you see there, we left the y the same because we don't want to move it up and down. We just want to move it across. So that's it for this right here. I think we can go ahead and attach our player. So we need to, inside of this constructor, we need to do create physics right here, and we need to pass it the camera and the physics world like that. All right, so let's go ahead and save that, and I think everything else, yeah, so we can do everything else later. So for right now, let's go ahead and exit out of this, go to our game scene, and create a method, or I mean, sorry, not a method, a variable called private, or object called player, and it's called player. All right, now in our create level, what we can do is we can go ahead and do attach our player too. So we can do player equals new player, and I kind of forgot all the parameters. I think it's like it needs the, so we can set this like at 300 by 150. The width and height we can do, what can we do? We could do like 80 by 80. I'm not really sure how that's going to look. Or let's do height by width. So the width we can do like 80, and the height we can do like 100 or something like that. Hopefully he won't be too big. And then just pass it. Let's see what else we need. I actually forgot. The width and height, vertex buffer object manager. So let's do resource. Should we do VBOM and the camera? So give it the camera, and it also needs the physics world. So then give it the physics world. Like that. And if you notice here, we actually need to move this because we actually create our level first and then we create the physics next. Or do we? Let's check really quickly. Okay, so we create our physics first. Awesome. So yeah, so what we can do is let's move, we can just do this right here. Bam, just like that. And then you want to do this dot attach and attach player. All right, so let's go ahead and run it and see what we get. All right, there's our main scene. So hit play, and there he is. There's our little man right there. He's running, and he can't move anymore because remember that body is that cloud right there is a body, so he can't get past it because he's running into it. So he stopped. So it's cool. So yeah, it actually works though. And there's our little man, and he's actually an animated sprite. So in the next section, we'll be working on making his legs move so we can animate him, and working on like adding some little animations where he can jump and cool stuff like that. So that's it, guys, for creating a player, and we can actually run this again just to see how it works. Let's run it again. Actually, whoops, wrong one. Go to run alien run, and there's the main menu player, and there he is. And you see he's moving, and he's gonna run bam into that cloud. So yeah. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and in this section, and the next section we'll be working on creating the animations for the sprite and adding all type of like allowing him to be able to jump and cool things like that. So that's it. I'll see you in the next section.